Hello and welcome our blood viewers to our today's news English edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and top highlights of tonight. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, has returned home after attending the UN General Assembly. And on tonight, the Seven Brothers Islands, Kudoria and Khorangar, are now classified as a post-premier reserve internationally. Spain and Italy send military vessels to accompany the resistance flotilla to Gaza. Those were the major top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our blood viewers. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, returned to the country early Saturday evening following his participation in the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States. During the event, the head of state distinguished himself through a series of speeches delivered from distinct podiums, including a high-level meeting commemorating the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, an international conference on recognition of the State of Palestine, and a summit debate on the need to reform the global financial architecture. On the bilateral front, President Guelleh also held a number of private talks with several African and world leaders who were attending the 80th UNGA. His schedule in New York also included audiences with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the new President of the African Development Bank, Mr. Sidi Ould Tah, and the US President and Senior Advisor for Africa, Mr. Massad Boulos. The President furthermore attended a dinner hosted by US President Donald Trump in honor of the heads of state and government participating in the 80th session of the UN General Assembly. It should be recalled that the head of state has traveled to New York after taking part on 15 September in the Emergency Arab Muslim Summit held in Doha, Qatar. And at the 80th UN General Assembly, Djibouti's President, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, elevated Djibouti's voice and that of the African continent through a program of speeches, bilateral meetings and strategic initiatives that marked a significant moment for the Djiboutian diplomacy. Let's listen for more.
September 2025. On the occasion of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, the President of the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Al-Hajj Ismail Omar Guelleh, carried high the voice of Djibouti and beyond that of the African continent. His visit to New York, marked by speeches, bilateral meetings, and strategic initiatives, stood out as a highlight of Djibouti's diplomacy. From the UN rostrum, the head of state delivered a firm plea for the preservation of an international order based on multilateralism, recalling the enduring relevance of the UN Charter. He emphasized that this legal and moral foundation remains the only compass capable of preventing arbitrariness and ensuring fair cooperation among nations. President Ismail Omar Guelleh also stressed the urgent need to reform the global financial architecture, denouncing an injustice inherited from Bretton Woods. He highlighted the constraints faced by countries of the global South, prohibitively expensive development financing, suffocating debt, and institutional marginalization. With vigor, he endorsed the recommendations of the Pact for the Future, calling for a bold and fair reform that will grant African economies a real voice and a genuine chance to prosper. Another central theme of his address was the Palestinian question. At the International Conference on the Two-State Solution, the Djiboutian president recalled that more than 150 countries already recognized Palestine, yet such recognition remains insufficient in the face of illegal occupation and the violence documented by the UN. Citing the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice and the recent findings of the UN Commission of Inquiry, Ismail Omar Guelleh condemned the genocide perpetrated in Gaza. He issued a solemn appeal to the United Nations to turn commitment into concrete action so that peace may finally be built on justice, equality, and the security of both peoples. On the sidelines of the General Assembly, President Ismail Omar Guelleh held multiple meetings. His discussion with the President of the African Development Bank, Sidi Ould Tah, reaffirmed the strength of the partnership between Djibouti and the AfDB. Talks focused on flagship projects in the fields of energy, digital transformation, and infrastructure, a reflection of Djibouti's strategic vision for regional integration and sustainable development. This conversion of views illustrates Djibouti's ambition to consolidate its achievement while actively contributing to the continental economic agenda. The head of state also met with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the biennial Summit for the Sustainable and Inclusive Global Economy. The President Ghali spoke with renewed vigor to denounce the North-South divide that undermines collective ambitions. He called for concrete reforms centered on three priorities: a fairer restructuring of debt, greater access to special drawing rights, and just representation with financial institutions. Through this speech, Djibouti did not appear as a mere petitioner, but as a responsible actor carrying a demanding vision for a fairer system of global governance. Between international tribune and bilateral meetings, between his advocacy for Palestine and his call for financial reform, President Ismail Omar Guelleh reaffirmed Djibouti's vocation to be crossroads not only of maritime routes but also of political voices. In New York, the Republic of Djibouti demonstrated that a small state can carry weight in world affairs when it stands for universal causes, justice, fairness, and peace.
The Republic of Djibouti today celebrates a historic milestone in the protection of its natural heritage and biodiversity. The archipelago comprising the Seven Brothers Islands, Ras Siyaan, Khor-Angar, and Goduri was officially recognized as a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve at the 37th session of the International Coordinating Council of the Man program held 26 to 27 September 2025 in Hangzhou, China. This international recognition honors the exceptional richness of the protected area's marine and terrestrial ecosystems, notably its coral reefs, mangroves, pelagic waters that host migratory species such as the whale shark, marine mammals, and a multitude of bird and reptile species, several of which are globally threatened. The Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development emphasized that the Seven Brothers, Ras Siyaan, Khor-Angar, and Goduri is now officially recognized as Djibouti's first UNESCO reserve. Let's listen to him.
Chers compatriotes,
Since 2011, the Republic of Djibouti has been firmly committed to the Pan-African initiative of the Great Green Wall, a powerful symbol of African solidarity in the face of the threats of desertification, land degradation, and increasingly severe impacts of climate change. This commitment stems from a clear vision that of a country which, despite the constraints of its arid climate and limited resources, intends to contribute fully to regional solutions for the preservation of our environment. Allow me also to recall that FAO was among the very first partners to support the Republic of Djibouti in its effort to mobilize financing for this African initiative. Through its technical and institutional support, FAO has played a decisive role in preparing and maturing our projects, enabling our country to draw the attention of both regional and international donors. I am proud to highlight that Surat Kwa is the very first project of the Great Green Wall initiative to be implemented on Djiboutian soil. This signing therefore marks a historic milestone, paving the way for structured and concrete action in favor of land restoration and the fight against desertification. Today, the signing of the project document reflects our determination to transform these commitments into tangible actions. It demonstrates our resolve to promote the sustainable management of natural resources, to encourage land restoration, and to strengthen the resilience of rural population. with the goal of ensuring a safer and more prosperous future for our citizens. The Republic of Djibouti is proud to see its long-standing efforts materialize through this major regional project. For more than a decade, we have worked tirelessly to strengthen the resilience of our ecosystem and to develop national policies capable of responding to the challenges of climate change. I wish to express my deepest gratitude to FAO and to all our partners for their constant support and trust. Together, we will continue along this path of regional cooperation in African solidarity, convinced that only collective action will allow us to build a green, sustainable, and resilient Africa.
The General Secretary of the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, Mr. Dini Abdullah Umar, presided on Thursday over the closing ceremony of the scientific mission dedicated to studying Djibouti's coral reefs. Launched in 2022, the mission aimed to produce a precise mapping of reef health and to implement an innovative monitoring system based on advanced technologies with the objective of providing national authorities with reliable operational data to strengthen sustainable management of marine ecosystems. The work conducted by the Ministry in partnership with the Transitional Red Sea Center, experts from the University of Djibouti and CERD, covered 6 strategic sites: Djibouti City, Musha Maskali, Arta Beach, Gubet, Tajorra, and Owakh. The initiative enriched the marine biodiversity in tree, corals, fish, algae, and invertebrates through an environmental eDNA sampling campaign and identified both the most vulnerable marine areas and those showing strong resilience. Dr. Sadat Saleh Said underlined the scientific importance of this mission. Thanks to national and international collaboration, we have strengthened our knowledge of marine biodiversity and introduced modern methods such as environmental data, he said. In his remarks, the General Secretary recalled the coral reefs are not merely natural wonders. They are the silent guardians of our coasts, refuge for thousands of species, invisible pillars of the blue economy and source of livelihood of our populations. Their significance lies in much as their beauty and their utility, and their fragility demands solemn attention, he said. And now let's watch a special edition prepared by the RTD announcing Djibouti's accession to the APRAA and introducing the segment on green transition.
At the heart of the Horn of Africa, Djibouti is taking a historic turn today. The country joins APRA, the Accelerated Partnership for Renewable Energy in Africa, launched in Nairobi in 2023. This Pan-African alliance brings together African countries and international partners around a common challenge: to produce 300 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030. Accelerate the energy transition and strengthen cooperation between nations. By joining this movement, the country is ready to demonstrate that a small country can have a big impact on the continent's energy future. Djibouti became a member of the APRA on January 13, 2025, during the 15th IRENA Assembly in Abu Dhabi. This membership was unanimously validated by the Alliance Steering Committee. This integration marks recognition of our effort in renewable energy and opens up new opportunities for cooperation with other African countries. Djibouti is not starting from scratch. The Gubet wind farm is already operational, providing clean energy. Solar power plants are under construction, and geothermal energy is undergoing advanced exploration. The country is even studying tidal power to harness the power of waves and ocean currents. The objective is clear: to produce 100% renewable energy and position Djibouti as an energy hub in the Horn of Africa. This project demonstrates the country's commitment to a sustainable future and its ambition to actively contribute to the continental energy transition. Djibouti's entry into APRA is part of an African and global dynamic. At the 2023 Nairobi Summit, African countries affirmed their desire to play a central role in the energy transition. The next meeting will be the APRA Ministerial Committee Summit in Sierra Leone in October 2025, where Djibouti will showcase its achievement and share its experience with other members. This continental participation will enable the country to strengthen its partnerships, attract investment, and accelerate the implementations of its renewable energy project. By joining APRA, Djibouti is taking a decisive step, a step that confirms its national ambitions and its contribution to a broader African project, a greener, more innovative, and more inclusive Africa. The country demonstrates that a small country can have a big impact on the continent's energy future.
A road traffic accident occurred at 11 a.m. this weekend on the National Road number 1 at the Wi'a Incline. A container truck overturned on the carriageway. The Gendarmerie Road Safety Brigade intervened promptly to clear the road and regulate traffic as usual. Djibouti is no longer merely a stop on the map. It is once again breaking codes and redefining the continent's future. Imagine roads that can predict their own failures, corridors that self-diagnose in real time, kilometers of asphalt transformed into intelligent networks. What yesterday seemed like science fiction is today Djibouti's reality with the deployment of DPCR Corridor Vision AI.
Djibouti is no longer just a stopover on the map. Once again, it's shaking up the coast and redefining the future of the continent. Imagine roads capable of predicting their own failures, corridors that self-diagnose in real time, kilometers of asphalt transformed into the small grids. What was only yesterday the stuff of science fiction is now a reality in Djibouti with the deployment of DPCR Corridor Vision AI, a unique strategy position located at the junctions of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, at the entrance of the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Djibouti controls one of the most strategic maritime passages in the world. Nearly 30% of the world trade passes through it, connecting the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean via the Suez Canal. But Djibouti's importance is not limited to the sea. Its continental position makes it the natural gateway to East African market. The country's road and rail corridor provide vital connections between its modern port and Ethiopia, a demographic giant whose 90% of international trade passes through Djibouti, as well as with other landlocked countries in the region. These infrastructure assets serve as an economic artery, placing Djibouti at the crossroad of global, regional, and now technological trade. This dependence translates into the intense traffic. Nearly 2,000 trucks cross the corridor connecting Djibouti to Ethiopia every day. But maintaining this strategic route in such a hostile environment is a constant challenge. Extreme temperature exceeding 50 degrees Celsius, massive truck traffic, and accelerated wear and tear. Until now, surveillance has relied on traditional inspections carried out by dedicated teams, but this system has reached its limit given the magnitude of the challenges. A technological breakthrough was essential. It was in this context that DPCR Corridor Vision IE was born, a unique artificial intelligence solution developed by Djibouti Port Corridor Road in partnership with the Rapid Canvas and 4C Solutions, designated specifically for the maintenance and monitoring of road corridors. This cutting-edge technology analyzes the condition of the infrastructure in real time and detects the slightest anomaly, cracks, subsidies, potholes. Here we are at the heart of the system. This screens the true digital brain of the corridor continuously display the health of the roads. Each light point signals deteriorations, each curves reflect analysis, and each alert triggers a preventive intervention. This predictive approach is revolutionizing road maintenance. No more costly emergency repair. Make way for preventive, planned, and optimized maintenance. Teams now intervene before problems even become visible, guaranteeing unprecedented continuity of services. Engineer Safa Ahmed Awali said the economic impact is significant, but by reducing disruptions and extending the lifespan of infrastructure, the entire regional supply chain gains in reliability and competitiveness. in May 2025 in Johannesburg, South Africa, at the prestigious Intelligence ICT Award Africa ceremony. Djibouti's name resonated. DPCR won the Innovation Award in the Public Enterprises Pioneering Artificial Intelligence category. This international recognition crowns months of hard work and places Djibouti on the global map of technological innovation. The PCR Corridor Vision, IE, is fully aligned with the Vision 2035, the national strategy that aims to make Djibouti a leading digital economy and leading port logistic hub serving regional and continental trade. With the PCR Corridor Vision, IE, Djibouti is not just maintaining its road, it is reinventing the management of the corridors of the future, a smart, resilient, and sustainable network serving trade, user safety, and regional integration.
The African Union Commission Chairperson, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, urged international partners to mobilize $196 million in 2025 to support the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia. He warned that without rapid funding, hard-won gains achieved at great sacrifice could be jeopardized. Speaking at a high-level financing meeting on the margins of the 80th UN General Assembly, Yusuf praised Somalia's notable progress, including debt relief and its accession to the UN Security Council, and paid tribute to the sacrifices of African forces and partners. He stressed, however, that the situation remains fragile, that the threat from Al-Shabaab persists, and that Somalia cannot tackle the security challenge alone. His Highness Sheikh Sabah Khalid Al-Hamid Al-Sabah, Crown Prince of Kuwait, received the African Union Commission Chairperson in Kuwait's Parliament mission to the United Nations in New York during the 80th UNGA. The talks focused on strengthening partnership between Kuwait, Arab, and African countries, particularly regarding opportunities in trade, infrastructure, energy, and social development. The Crown Prince reiterated Kuwait's commitment as a permanent observer to the African Union to consolidate the ties and the historic partnership between Kuwait and Africa through investments by the Kuwait Fund for the Arab Economic Development, the Kuwait Investment Authority, and private sector actors to support inclusive, sustainable growth. Chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf expressed his deep gratitude for Kuwait's steady support and reaffirmed the shared desire to expand and diversify cooperation for mutual benefit. For the first time in 104 years, the UCI Road World Championship are being held in Africa. Kigali becomes the world capital of cycling for several days, attracting athletes, teams, and fans from around the globe. In Kampala, Uganda, Ron Liga tightens his helmet before the start. He calls the event a historic moment, not only for Rwanda, but for the entire continent. The championships are expected to shine a global spotlight on the region and stimulate local tourism. Cycling, long a minor sport in some parts of Africa, is growing thanks to local races and youth training initiatives. Many talents are emerging as access to competitions and infrastructure improves. The elite race on Sunday promises a spectacular show. 273 kilometers, the framed Kigali Wall, and more than 3,500 meters of elevation. Millions of viewers worldwide are expected to follow, hosting the world's first Rwanda's border strategy to build high-level sports infrastructure and position itself as a regional sporting hub. Street-level enthusiasm is palpable. Moto taxi drivers, shopkeepers, and children line the roads to cheer the riders. The championships have already railed crowds and sown hope. The next challenge is to convert that momentum into lasting opportunities for athletes and local communities. Spain and Italy has decided to send military vessels to support and accompany the international flotilla known as the Flotilla of Resistance heading to Gaza.
Foreign Minister affirmed that the presence of the Spanish and Italian ships is limited to international waters and does not constitute a military confrontation with Israel, while Tel Aviv insisted that it will prevent the flotilla from reaching Gaza by any means. The civil organizations participating in the flotilla rejected any alternative solution involving delivering aid via Cyprus, an intermediary, asserting that their primary mission is to directly break the maritime blockade of Gaza. Observers believe that the escort of European ships constitute a sensitive test of the European Union's ability to influence even around Gaza.
U.S. firm Microsoft announced the cessation of parts of its cloud and artificial intelligence services to a unit of the Israeli Ministry of Defense following an internal review that conducted those technologies, concluded that those technologies were used for large-scale surveillance of Palestinians during the Gaza war. In a statement dated 25 September 2025, the company said it had disabled the military's access to certain zone features and data analysis services, asserting that its technologies must not be used to surveil or target civilians. The third international exhibition of digital economy professionals concluded on Thursday, 26 September 2025 in Lome after 3 days of intensive activity held under the theme People at the Heart of Digital Transformation in the area. The fair brought together the 8 member states of the West African Economic and Monetary Union with ministers, experts, and industry professionals and organizations specializing in digital transformation. Well, buddies, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more as usual. Have a wonderful evening and take care. Thank you once again.